Hey y'all, it's a new double dose episode of Steph Kat Talk WOW. We are here on the 6th anniversary of HWP to talk about some women's wrestling. Yes, it is Steph Kat Talk WOW.
Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs and the Ruben Studders. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers of Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers of Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape. For every one of us, I was kinda late, so I just made it up the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus.
Hey y'all, welcome to a brand new double dose episode of Steph Kat Talk WOW, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. Of course, I'm your girl Stephanie Hardy, host and creator, and proud mother, I guess you could say, of today of HWP Extra, and co-host of this fabulous show underneath the HWP umbrella. And I'm a contributing writer who's written for places like Daily DDT and hoping to start at Let Them Wrestle pretty soon, as well as color commentator featured on various promotions like Battle Club Pro, Black Girl Magic 2022, Spartan Wrestling, and the Belladonna Division. But of course, I am not alone. I am with my partner in crime, someone who I cannot believe still wants to work with me after all this time, but yet and still is my sister, my partner in crime, an awesome host and awesome super mom, as well as correspondent to various promotions in the New York and New Jersey area, and an author. She is Katrina. How are you, Kat?
Hey, I'm okay. It's been a weekend, but I'm happy to be here. And of course, I don't know, why you would think I wouldn't want to study this all these years later. But of course, um, thank you for the intro, and just because I know who these people are. So hey, Christian, and hey, Hendrix. Hope you guys are having an awesome Sunday.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching on Twitch. We love that. And also thank everyone who's watching us live on any other platforms as well. And of course, you can watch us later on YouTube. But it's just, when I say I can't believe it, Kat, it's just a general feeling of, when you're sitting and you're reflecting on how long you've been doing a thing, and you're just like, oh my God, how in the world did all of this happen? That's really what I'm going through right now. Like all day, all morning, all weekend, really, is just thinking about the idea of my anniversary is coming up. It's been 6 years. Woo. So much has happened, and I'm so happy, and humbled by everything. And just happy and humbled by the idea that, people, still to this day, actually care and want to work with you, and you've actually built a thing that people want to be a part of. So it's just a general feeling of holy cow. Yeah. So that's really what it is. But all in all, it's a sense of gratefulness and happiness over having the courage to build a thing and be consistent at it, and being, good enough at it to the point where people love listening to you and actually want to help you do things. It's just a very wonderful thing. So, of course, we are here to talk about WoW superheroes in the last two episodes, not the one that aired yesterday and the one that will air today in different areas, but the last two episodes that aired. So, one of them was Daddy's Little Princess, and the other was Class in Session. There was a lot of craziness that took place within this episode, but I'm really excited to talk about it because there was lots of conflict, lots of drama, lots of title shots being given as well. But I'm just really pumped to get into it. So before we get into both episodes, Kat, how are you feeling about the direction of both of these episodes so far?
I liked it. I got to see a little more of somebody who had a lot to say the last time I made some comments. My comments still stand, but I did get a chance to, see some in action there. So I appreciated that. But I like so far what we're getting. direction wise. And then we're getting some intro to new people as well, which is always cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. And then we also love when the WoW superheroes get in contact with us on social media. Like anytime we post anything and about them, they see it and then they interact with it almost immediately. And it can go either really, really good or it can go really, really sideways, but it's all out of love and and it's just out of our passion for the show and our passion for the wrestlers and everything. But we love it when people like Arianna Gambino and Reina Del Rey sort of, take a little bit of umbrage of things that we have to say, but Katrina stands on business, okay? We stand on business on this show. When we say how we feel, we mean it, and nobody can really change it. And that is perfectly fine. So, thank you guys, our WoW superheroes, for interacting with us. We always love it. We're always grateful for it. So the first episode is Daddy's Little Princess. Speaking of people getting into it with Katrina, this is centered mostly on her in-ring debut of Ariana Gambino. It started with an interview with Sibley Skulls and Catalina Speed, who really hadn't seen that much of in a minute, but I was really happy that we did get to see her in this episode. And we might be seeing more of her as, the next episodes go on. She stated to Sibley Skulls that there's only room for her speed versus Genesis, and she's damn sure about that action. So they also gave a superhero spotlight to Genesis and the debuting Drusilla Blade. Of course, we saw Genesis training out in the desert with her sharing her thoughts on her direction when it comes to the WoW World title. And she's upset that he's giving title opportunities to so many of the other girls and handing them out like candy, is what she said. And she knows that she won't grovel or beg for opportunities, but she will continue to call him out and call out the injustice of WoW. And while she was out there training, she found Drusilla Blade and she decided to become, an ally to her cause of calling out injustice so she can finally get what she feels like is hers. And she called Drusilla Blade the ultimate weapon. We saw her with her braids and everything and with her swords and all the above. This is a really cool ninja swordswoman like woman, and it's just like she's that woman like woman. That's so funny. But either way, she's amazing. She was breathtaking. When I saw her, I was just like, holy cow, Drusilla, like you look like you could hurt me and murder me, but you're so pretty. Like, what is going on? So that led to Genesis having her match against Catalina Speed. But before we get to that, how did you feel about the introduction of Drusilla Blade, Kat?
I liked it. I'm interested to see how she's gonna work with Genesis, just because Genesis have been teamed with people before and haven't necessarily been always successful. And her teams in regards to how she starts to feel about her team members, the people in her group, her space per se. But I liked what I saw. I'm interested to see how the dynamic between the two of them play out like later on.
Yeah, me too. I'm interested as well because it's interesting how after the match she mentioned how all of her partnerships had fallen apart in some way, shape, or form. So I'm wondering how this is going to be different from her time with Exile, and with her time with Malia Hosaka. So we'll see. But of course, this leads us to our first match in this episode, which was Genesis versus um Catalina Speed. So this match, with both ladies, they both locked up and then shoved each other back and forth, with Genesis hitting an X choke attempt on Catalina. Something that I liked seeing from Catalina Speed in this match is that how she had her well scouted in the beginning because she actually had it blocked. But of course, Genesis then attempted a triangle choke, but Catalina then again escaped from her and then tried to tussle into a 2 count, like I said, with her knowing what was coming from Genesis. Then Catalina leaped over Genesis with a bottom rope assist and gave a shoulder tackle to her. Then Speed hit her version of the Three Amigos, of course, which was made famous by Eddie Guerrero. I feel like there are so many things that are certain in the wrestling world, and it's going to be people paying tribute to Eddie Guerrero by doing the Three Amigos because it's a very potent set of suplexes, and I just love seeing. Also, just seeing people of Latin descent mostly do it. I love seeing everyone do it, don't get me wrong, but I love seeing people of Latin descent do it as well, because that's just that form of representation just trickling down. And it's just really cool. It was cool to see Catalina do that. But as the match continued to go on, Genesis proceeded to not only run and play mind games with her and run away from Catalina, she proceeded to attack and target her knee at a certain point, to the point where you almost didn't think that she was going to get back up from it. But Catalina bounced back, even limping, and trying to fight back with a sunset flip. But in the midst of it all, Genesis would continue to attack her, hit a spin kick, and then Catalina would then kick out. Then Catalina would lock in a stretch muffler, but then Genesis reversed it for a 2 count. And then she hits a very insane move, which got the internet's attention, but we won't get into that today because we talked about it before. Genesis hits a corkscrew leg drop from the top rope for a 3 count, and she won the match. It was really cool to see Genesis win the match the way that she did, because normally when it comes to her bringing out an ally, um, that ally would cheat for her, or she would try to find a weird cagey way to cheat. But in this aspect, she actually found something new to take out her opponent with, and she defeated Catalina Speed fair and square. And that was a nice little change of pace there. So Genesis got the upper hand and won. But she did cut a post-match promo saying, "Looks like Miss Catalina Speed wasn't fast enough for me. I want to introduce you all to my new surprise that I mentioned last week. You know, I've been betrayed in the past and in this wrestling business. I had a mentor, speaking of Malia Hosaka. I've had partners addressing Exile, and also Ice Cold / Scout Parker. And every single one of them have stabbed me in the back at the end of the day, or she has stabbed them in the back. I mean, because let's be real, it wasn't always them, it was also you too. It takes two to tango, including you, David. You've been promising me for months a championship title match. What's the deal?" Then I went back to my roots and found the ultimate weapon, Drusilla Blade. And so now she's standing on business and standing with her new partner and glowing in the and basking in the afterglow of this win. So Katrina, how did you feel about this match? And just Genesis' performance?
I thought this was a really good match. Genesis, I mean, I do know there was a lot of talk about, the move. I do recall. Well, I was a little late to the party because sometimes I don't see stuff on Twitter right away. I'm not on Twitter as often as I probably should be, but I did remember some of the discourse around that from people who didn't particularly watch the product. Um, with that being said, I thought I was very impressed with Genesis in this match, even if there was a stumble or so, just because she didn't like have the person out there helping her. And it's something to be said. Like, there's times when Genesis will do a match and she'll win it, and I'm like, yes, she won it, no nonsense. And then the next time we see her again, there's some nonsense involved. And so I'm hoping that with this win and her moving forward, it'll stick to her, that even if she has somebody else that's like her surprise or just her ace in the hole, or have this person in my pocket in case, with however the sayings may go, that she continue doing so, winning matches, but on her own accord, and not like cheating or having somebody interfere or some nonsense. Because I feel like that in itself, and while I know there's faces and heels do nonsense and cheat, I do like Genesis. I do think her wrestling is good, and like, I would like to see her get there and get there the right way, without nonsense. And while I will say sometimes when they beef with David, I'd be like, you're not wrong, because he be engaging in shenanigans sometimes. I'm like, are we not seeing the same thing? Or sometimes referees, I'm like, I'm gonna need y'all to get your spectacles or like whatever we need to make sure we all on the same page and we all seeing the same stuff. Okay, so I can understand in that regard. Like, she's not wrong. Like, sometimes David be on one with sometimes saying things and not necessarily doing what he says. But I did appreciate this match. I thought Catalina did well, as well, and she's pretty more on the newer side for me, for a while. And so I thought she did good. I thought she handled Genesis well, but Genesis did prevail in this, and I am looking forward to see what all of them do in the next few weeks.
Yeah, me too. And I love that part that you added about Genesis winning on her own. But it's so funny that it just seems like she's sort of opening the door again for her to win via shenanigans. Like you mentioned, like she usually does, after she wins a match on her own and then she goes back and then she cheats. It's almost as if she's not as confident in her ability to win on her own. So she just goes back to what she knows. And that makes me sad because she's so talented and she's so great without shenanigans, and also just without this, without another person doing the cheating for her, which Loki scares me because you have Drusilla Blade out there on the side with these double swords, and it just kind of gives me the impression that she does not have any good intentions for any of the other WoW superheroes if it has to do with them going up against Genesis. So um I'm very hopeful about Genesis this year. I said this on a previous episode. I think that this really might be her year to finally get on top and win a WoW World title. I would love that, but I'm just hoping that her trajectory stays upward and not just her going back to old habits that only that makes her look like she can't defend herself in a way that's actually free and clear and fair. So yeah, and I loved Catalina Speed's performance as well. So yeah, this was a really solid opening. I liked it. Also in this episode, we saw Mela Hey Now do sort of like a on the street type of interviews with the crowd in on Fremont Street, and they were pretty much happy to be there. You could definitely tell some of them were very turned up, but then again, it's Las Vegas. You're gonna be turned up if you're there for fun and all of the above. But it was a lot of people who were very excited to even have their children, their sons, even out there watching women be powerful and stuff like that. And that was really cool. So big ups to those people who got to have that live experience, and big ups to Mela Hey Now doing those interviews. So we also saw a recap of the drama between the Dojo Defenders, Tara Strike and Kara Kai, and their miscommunication, which cost them their first WoW tag team title match. And of course, we saw Tara earn them another shot by going up against Lindsey Carlson in that singles bout, which was pretty awesome because, of course, we're fans of her outside of WoW, but just to see Tootie/Tara get that type of focus in that episode was really, really awesome. So it was cool. So this leads us to an interview that Sibley was having with our WoW Tag Team champions, Miami Sweet Heat, who were just irritated at the idea that the Dojo Defenders just couldn't get themselves together or get on the right page in order to face them, because they claim that they are the standard because they are always ready for whatever challenges come their way. And that could mean so many things when it comes to them, because of course they're not only like a really great tag team, they also have Lana Star and Penelope Pink there, who are their X factors. But either way, they were very aggravated at the Dojo Defenders just not having their stuff together and just saying, look, if you come at us, you best not miss. And we are the 5-time WoW tag team champions for a reason. So that was really interesting. Then we get a little bit of a gang up, well, not really a gang up, but sort of like a gathering at this famous pool hall in Las Vegas. I forgot to get the name of it. I wish I did. This famous pool hall, and we saw the Alliance along with Arianna Gambino get together, and we don't know what was discussed. Don't know what was discussed, but we saw them gather there and come up out of that fancy SUV they had. So that was very interesting. So Kat, I do want to ask you, how are you feeling more so about the drama between um the Dojo Defenders and how it's unfolding?
I mean, I'm a person that if you're my squad, you're my squad. I am 100%. That's just how I am. And I'm probably the first person ready to be like, so who be fighting, or who said what, or do I need to say something? Do I need to step in? I'm actually quite quick, probably quicker than most people in that regard. Not saying it's good. I'm just saying that this is how I am with my squad. And so, with that being said, I can understand the level of discord, because if you're supposed to be present and things, and you're supposed to be around for things that we are doing, and in this case, we're having a wrestling match and you're doing everything under the sun, I would feel a way that we're sitting here, supposed to be preparing for this match, and I work in wrestling now. Yeah, you're gonna have a snack and you're gonna have food. Like, believe me, we all do. I get it. I've worked shows where I need to eat for hours. Totally understand. But in a situation where you're trying to move up in the division or you're trying to move up in WoW and you guys need to be ready and you decide there's usually an order, a sequence of what match is coming at what time. That why would you decide that time this is the time to go and get something to eat? And while it's not necessarily a huge deal, I would definitely eye that and I would probably feel away just because again, there's like the reading the room. This was not the time to do that. Once you guys finish the match, win or lose, go get your, go get whatever you want to get. Celebrate or just use it for events, whatever the case may be, but don't do it before a match. And then to seem confused, like she didn't understand why, that there was some irritation there. I personally don't like nonsense like that. I think like let's call everything the way it is and let's be 100. But in particular, if you're supposed to be there for your teammate or your team or your tag partner or your group, your friends, whatever the case may be, didn't actually do that. And in this case, it was a wrestling match. And so I can understand while there is some discord because personally, I would have probably been upset about that. So for me, it's understandable.
Yeah, it's understandable for me too, because there's a level of discipline that you have to have when you're a part of a team. And you mentioned that, and it just made me think about my sophomore year of high school when I joined the high school choir, the Fairfield Singing Tigers, shout out to us. And Miss Howes, rest in peace to her, she was a very no nonsense person when it came to being on time. She said if when it came to performance day, if you are not here, on time and you're not dressed and you don't have everything together, you will not perform with us that day. Like I will sit you down while we are performing. And she actually did that to somebody. Like somebody came in late and she sat them down. And I was like, whoa. And it scared me. But at the same time, it's one of those things that just instills in you a level of discipline by being there not only for your team, but also having responsibility enough for yourself and to respect yourself enough to be on time for what you need to be there for. And it's not professional when you're late for stuff like that because you have this big opportunity that's ahead of you and you don't want to ruin it for yourself and you don't want to ruin it for your partner. At least if you don't care that much about yourself, you would care about your partner. But it seemed like, Kara Kai just lackadaisically was just like, oh, well, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe it's not at this time like I thought it was. And then she just miscalculated everything. But still, you were supposed to check in. And if you don't care enough to check in, then you need to question, where you are in that person's life. Like, if you don't respect my time and if you don't respect these opportunities, then what are we doing here? We need to like wrap this up. Either we need to fix it and talk about it, or we need to wrap this up. And I low key feel sad because it's looking like with the way that the next episode went, it might be wrapped up, and I hate it. But oh, it's sad. But either way, yeah, you've got to be on time for your things. If you care, you got to be on time, even if it means you being there 2 hours before, or even waking up 3 hours before, getting ready so you can be there at the thing. Like it matters. It literally matters, and it reflects well to the person that you're working for. It shows that you care. So yeah, adulthood 101. So we move into our main event because this episode really only had 2 matches, but we move into the basis of this episode, the Daddy's Little Girl component, with the Alliance going up against Monsters and Metal in a trios match. So within this, in the Alliance, we have Arianna Gambino, the boss, and BK Rhythm and Gigi Gianni together going up against Fury, Chainsaw, and Daisy Lane. The match started with Fury and Ariana, and a part of me was just like, bro, Ariana's about to go up against a WoW OG. I wonder how well this is gonna go. Fury then tipped Ariana Gambino over with two schoolgirl roll-ups as if to say, welcome to WoW, kid. That's kind of what it felt like to me. She was like, look, I'm gonna shake you up since you want to think you're all that already. So then Arianna elbowed Fury and hung her throat on the top rope, just being a little bit cagey in the beginning. And then she posed and bragged about it with BK and Gigi. But then after Fury got away, she tags in Chainsaw, and then she didn't want any of Chainsaw, so she tagged in BK. And Chainsaw proceeded to go on the attack and throw BK into their corner, and essentially just keep their attack going with Daisy Lane as well, who gave an insecurity kick and then tagged Fury back in. Um, Fury then gave a German suplex to BK Rhythm and then threw her into the corner and just kept her isolated, and gave her a suplex for a 2 count. Then Daisy Lane got into the match, and I feel like that's where the trajectory kind of changed because the Alliance proceeded to gang up on her and attack her over and over again. After she got caught up after a certain point, but then once she was finally able to fight them off and tag in Chainsaw, everything got shook up. Chainsaw slammed Gigi, then the referee got pulled out as he counted what would have been a 1, 2, 3. But then this referee lays down the law, which is something that we love. This referee laid down the law and ejected Reina Del Rey and Sylvia Sanchez after they yanked him out. And then Fury hit a clothesline on Arianna. Chainsaw then chokeslams BK Rhythm onto the apron. And then Fury backhanded Gigi Gianni, and then Chainsaw choke slammed Arianna and then assisted Daisy with the graveyard smash, and Monsters of Metal won the match. So that was pretty awesome. I was kind of impressed a little bit by Arianna Gambino and what she did, even though she wasn't in the match as long as I would have liked. But from what I did see, it's just like, oh, okay, well, you have a little bit of something there, but we're just not seeing all of it right now because she was utilizing, of course, her gang, which is a smart boss move to make. But of course, they didn't win. Monsters and Metal got the upper hand, and now they are jockeying for a new opportunity or a new chance at the WoW Trios titles that was essentially stolen from them by Top Tier. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this match, and how did you feel about Ariana Gambino's performance, and what statement do you think that Monsters and Metal were making here?
I thought it was a good match. I will say with Arianna, like there's something. Like I said earlier, I still haven't seen enough for all the stuff that she was saying. Or rather her and Rena DeRoy was saying. I had a lot to say the last time I made some comments. But she has something. It's a little something, something. I'm seeing something, but not again, not enough for the level of shit talking, if you will, that I was hearing. I feel like I'm a firm believer. You don't talk this much shit, back it up. And while I understand even using, if you got a squad that's willing to, enter themselves and stuff, I'm all like, I get again the heel and face aspects. I get like heels tend to cheat and do these things, but I'm also like, if you need these many people to cheat, we might not be as good as you think you are if you have to have all these bodies helping you get to a goal that you wanted to get. It might even be different when you could have probably proven everything that they were saying by winning this match once the other two got ejected, but you guys didn't. And so it's like, to speak that, not saying don't have confidence in your team, that's not what I mean, but like, if you're gonna speak that crazy about what you can do and you can do this and you're better than your sister, since basically that's what was implied. Well, Adriana was undefeated. So like, I don't know, she was undefeated and you now have a loss on your record. So I just think like, maybe ease up on your sister just a tad, because she as of right now have the better record and she did it with less people. Just saying. With that being said, I thought it was a good match, and I do think with regards to Monster and Metal, you know, I'm glad Daisy has been getting her new like look, her new attitude to allow her to completely remove from what it was when she was with Coach Campanelli at the time that she was. I feel like her kind of like embracing that and, you know, adding herself to this group or rather being a part of a group that, you know, also has some, there's, you know, Chainsaw also got some size to her. And so that can even out the field quite a bit with certain women in that locker room who may be on the taller side or on the, you know, the stronger side, whatever the case may be. So they have that for them. And I do like that they want it. And I'm hoping just because, you know, as I can appreciate the girls that's in top tier, you know, they have been on some nonsense. And so I would be perfectly fine if they lose trios to someone. And I would be perfectly fine if it is Monster Metal. So it was a good match, though.
Yeah, it really was a good match. And I love that you said that Arianna was had a bit of shit talking going on. Um so it's okay. Like if that's how you felt, I mean that's really real. And it's like you said, and it's like we said in the episode prior, like her sister, Adriana was very
Because
much
I'm undefeated.
she was undefeated. And the fact that, and then she started this undefeated streak, like you said, when she didn't even need like all of Alliance. Like that was before the Alliance even existed. If we're keeping it a whole buck, it was before the Alliance even existed. And it could have been argued that she could have had, more of an opportunity at the WoW World title because of it. But I don't know. I don't necessarily know if that's Ariana's goal as of yet, but then again it is still new. We don't really know what most of her goals are when it comes to her and the Alliance. I think right now she's just wanting to stake her claim and prove that she's you know every bit not like her sister, which is basically little sister energy. um Deep little sister vibes that are just coming out all the time when it comes to that. And there is more that we do need to see from her to see what happens with her in her WoW career. But I am happy that Monsters and Metal got this win because I am very much ready to see them hold those trios titles because I am so tired of top tier. I'm so tired of them. I can't stress enough how sick I am of top tier because they're just they're not only the most dangerous, they're also very calculated with their strategy, but at the same time they're using any and everything to just try to hold on to that sense of superiority, and it's got to stop. So if Monsters and Metal can take those trios titles away from them, I'll be all for it. I'm definitely here for it. And they seem dead on ready for it, when they cut their promo after this match too. So big ups to Monsters and Metal for that. And that was the end of Daddy's Little Princess, who may need to shine up her crown a bit. So, as we move forward, we move into the second episode, which was called Class in Session. You can guess who that was centered on, the Classmaster. So, the episode starts with the Classmaster and Samantha Smart. And of course, Samantha comes out and berates the people and says, "You want to know what sucks other than you guys? What really sucks is watching WoW descend into savagery. Our championship was stolen by Tormenta, and it was the fault of this commission. And then the Classmaster and I fought to restore dignity to this ring, and I was assaulted by Santana Garrett in a stunning display of barbaric impulse." Such an amazing set of vocabulary words. "She pushed me from the edge of my ring. So yes, tonight is about more than revenge. Tonight is about salvation. Tonight is about good versus evil and smart versus stupid. Tonight is a fight for the very soul of WoW." Doesn't that sound dramatic?
Yes.
It sounds like a monologue from Has Been Hotel. Like, I don't know, Katrina, if you have ever watched Has Been Hotel, but I just finished it. It's amazing. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a cartoon. And it's centered on demons in hell being redeemed by the daughter of Lucifer. It's amazing. But either way, it just sounds like, a battle of good and evil and strong and weak and the salvation of WoW. WoW is Why do you feel like WoW needs to be saved? Like, are you serious? Like, WoW does not need to be saved just because things aren't going your way. That's not how life works. Yeah. So after this, we got a recap of the triple threat match between Penelope Pink, Santana Garrett, and the Class Master for the number one contendership to the Wild World Championship. And of course, Penelope Pink won this. But of course, in the midst of this, you had Santana and the Class Master have their little back and forth, which essentially led us to the main event of this episode. It's so interesting. It stemmed from a triple threat, and it just made me think just now. For some reason, it kind of hit me in the base of my skull, just like Roman Reigns and CM Punk, and how their beef is essentially stemming from the after effects of WrestleMania last year with that triple threat with Seth Rollins, and now that's crazy. It just hit me like right there, and I was like, "Ooh, that's an interesting parallel." So in the midst of this, we get to match number one, which was Sandy Short versus Scout Parker. And there is something that I want to say about Scout Parker. I feel like after I feel like before she shifted into Scout Parker, her wrestling game has definitely gone up since she's been here at WoW. And I feel like Scout Parker, every time she wrestles, she reminds me of Bailey for some reason. And I mean that in the very best way, because she can get a good match out of anybody, whether she wins or loses. And this is the second week in a row where I've seen her face off against somebody, and I've been thoroughly impressed by her athleticism, because she fought Ashley Blaze last time, and that was a really, really good match. And they also mentioned that Sandy Shore um, graduated with a master's in business with a focus in marketing. So big ups to her and those getting their master's degrees. The match started with shoving, and then Scout twisted on Sandy Shore's wrist, and then they both showed their agility and their ability to pop in and out of those submission holds. Scout Parker then hit a monkey flip, and then Sandy tripped up Scout Parker with her ring awareness and the ropes, and then she hit a headlock onto her. And then Scout hit a neck breaker, but then Sandy kicked her off of her as she charged forward, and then a sling blade, and then she hit a sling blade and a forearm shot to Scout Parker for a 2 count. And then Scout then hit a splash after slamming Sandy into the mat and a hip toss for a 2 count. Then Sandy and Scout traded kicks back and forth to each other in the head on the top rope. And then Scout Parker threw Sandy off of the top rope and then hit a backflip clothesline for a 3 count. And Scout, all these S names are messing me up. Oh my God, Scout Parker wound up winning the match. And like I said, like, this was a very good bout between both of these women. Sandy Shore really has been improving a lot of her game in the past season as well. But Scout Parker is really becoming like WoW's ace, and I like seeing that happen. So I really enjoyed this match and the back and forth between both of these women. But Scout Parker is out here touching grass and kicking ass. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this match? Woo!
I thought it was a really good match. I a big kudos to Sandy, just because as a girl with 2 degrees, I definitely know how hard that can be sometimes, and um, to do that and do other things while in school. So congrats to her on that one. But I thought it was a really good match. I do think that Scout's, I will say, skill has definitely improved from the very first time we saw her when she was ice cold. And then when she aligned herself when she was with Genesis, and then you saw it get better then. And so now that she's a whole new revamped, and she's Scout and she's by herself, I think even now she has gotten even better. And I always appreciate when I can see a wrestler who you can tell they have done something, or maybe just tuned something, or just whatever opportunity to change something or to just be better in the ring. I always appreciate when any wrestler do that, but in particularly women wrestlers. And I say that's because it's always the assumption that women don't wrestle as well as men, which I will hard disagree. If not, sometimes I think women wrestle better than men, but that's a debate for another day. And so I always appreciate when a women wrestler can take the time to whatever they think needs to be done or whatever they can do to get better at the craft. Um, I thought it was a good match. It was is they're different in ways, and I did even like to see that Sandy was being a little bit more aggressive in her normal carefree way of wrestling. She's a little bit more like, whatever. Not that it's bad. It's just less like I felt like she was putting more of her effort into the match than previous matches where it seems like she's a bit just more carefree. And I think it's just a whole gimmick of like being a pretty like summer spring break kind of girly. But I did appreciate that she, for this she tried to buckle down and do a little different. While Scout still got the win on this, I just think it's more so Scout has been in a while longer, just under a different, persona per se. And so I do think a lot of times, sometimes skill and just time. Sometimes it's just time of like how long you might have been, or maybe you just knew other tricks and you have better ring awareness. And sometimes it's simply something as simple as that. But I did like the match, and kudos to Scout. I'm actually looking forward to see what she does as well separately, just because when she was ice cold, she did say at points she wanted to get like the main title. Who knows? And maybe she'll get it now as Scout.
Yeah, maybe she will, because her growth has just been fantastic. Like these last two matches she's been really locked in on a level that, you can tell there's like a huge evolution there and it's only going to get better. So Scout Parker might be having herself a little moment, and I'm happy about that for her, because yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that when she was ice cold, that she wanted to go after the title. So maybe we might see her, in terms of us wanting new contenders to go after it. She could stand to be another new contender to go after the WoW World Championship. That would be very refreshing. A match between her and Tormenta might just heal me. It really might. So yeah, so it was really great to see her win this match. But yeah, Sandy Shore was also very locked in and aggressive too. So I'm glad you mentioned it as well. So it was really good start. So we go backstage with Catalina Speed talking to an unlikely person that we haven't seen in a minute as well. Vicious Veronica Varoom, V3. V to the third power is trying to recruit Catalina to be her partner due to their similarities, their aggression, their Caribbean flavor and everything. And I was just like, hey, I like that. V3 said that Speed looks like a champion, and with a little bit of guidance from her, that they could possibly be tag champions. And I said, okay, let's see a new team, go after it. I think that's cool. But Catalina Speed looked a little bit hesitant. But V3 told her to think about it. So I'm very interested to see how this is gonna go. And then the fact that she came up with a name for them, like Speed and Vroom, like Vroom Speed, like that's fire. I like that. So yeah, maybe we'll see Vroom Speed become a successful tag team this year. Katrina, what do you think about that possibility?
Who knows? I wouldn't mind it. I definitely wouldn't mind it. I want to see some more tag teams in WoW. There's some people who just can't seem to be away from the title picture. So if you put more teams, hopefully that changes. So I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it either. It would be really cool. So speaking of more tag teams, we do see backstage Tara and Kara, the Dojo Defenders, preparing for their tag team title match. And it seemed like as they were preparing and as they were, locking in and talking to each other, Sandy Shore shows up backstage, and Kara's just like, what's up? And then Sandy starts, venting to her that she's just tired of losing her matches. And it seemed almost as if Kara pushed Tara to the side when this was going on, and she was having this conversation with her. And she said, it's okay, let me finish with this first and then we'll debrief, okay? And I'm just like, with this first, like the way that you were saying it made it seem like it wasn't important. Like, let me finish with this first and then we'll talk. Like, no, you mean this title match that Tara had to bust her butt to get because you were late? Like, I did not like the energy that Tara was giving. I mean, that Kara was giving when prioritizing Sandy Shore's feelings. Because I understand if you want to be friends with her, but don't just poo-poo your tag team partner off like that and making it seem like what you're doing with her is unimportant in comparison. So I hated that. It was gross. Did not like it. But yeah. Kat, how did you feel about seeing that promo and just that backstage interaction happened.
It was interesting. I'm with you on the like trying to be mindful of people, of just being like respecting your friends and your people and your team. I feel like you're obviously not going to always get along with anybody. I feel like that's ridiculous. We're all different people, even as similar as we may be on things. We're not going to always agree with everything, and so you can expect that. But at least just being mindful. I think like I thought the response was a bit like I'm like girl. Girl, why are we doing this? Like, I'm gonna need you to be a little better um about how you handling this. Like, there's just again, it's about like understanding your friend, and again being mindful or being respectful rather. But again, just I'm watching. It's one of those things. It's like, hmm, how is this gonna play out in like a month or like 2 weeks? So I am keeping like eye on in regards to just to see how this is gonna kind of play out.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2 weeks because I really feel like I'm gonna give it 2 weeks, and I feel like something bad is gonna happen, and I'm sad because I like them as a tag team, but the idea of them breaking up like this is really breaking my heart. Like, no, this can't be how the game goes down. It just can't be. But after this, they showed a recap of the Tara and Lindsey match. And they proceeded to also cut a promo backstage. Miami Sweet Heat did, talking about multiple excuses as to why she lost to Tara and how they're the best tag team, blah, blah, blah. Which, of course, led into the WOW World Tag Team Championship match between Miami Sweet Heat and the Dojo Defenders. Lana came out there counting cash, but as it turns out, it wasn't real money. It was actually money with the Fab Four on it. And I was just like, why do I want this dollar? Like, why do I want a Fab Four dollar in the year of our Lord? I want it like really bad. So, wow, people, if you still have that in your prop department and if you want to be kind or whatever, send me the Fab $4 so I can hang it up in my room. Send Kat one too if she wants one. I don't know, but I'm speaking for myself. I kind of want a Fab $4 because it's not that often you see women on dollars. Actually, you don't see women on dollars at all. So I kind of want that. I thought that was a really cute little prop to have. Like they're that money, yeah, yeah, that money, yeah, yeah, that money, yeah, yeah. Oh, love Crime Time. Rest in peace, of Shad. So, as she's counting that cash, um, the match does get started with kicks from Tara and Kara after ducking the sneak attack from Lindsey and Laurie. Kara and Laurie start the match properly, and Kara hits her with a gator roll and a sunset flip for a 2 count. And it also seemed, well, throughout this match, or at least the beginning part, Kara hit her Karana from the top rope onto Laurie, and then she tagged Tara. And then both defenders proceeded to attack Laurie with strikes and kicks for a 2 count. They were on one accord at the very beginning of this match. And then Tara was using her hand strikes to light up Laurie so badly that Laurie literally was telling her, "Girl, stop!" And I'm just like, no, she's not going to stop. This is a match. Then Lana proceeded to pull on Tara's legs as to stop her momentum as she was going ham. Then Laurie gave a big boot to Tara, knocking her out, and then she tagged in Lindsey. And then they hit double tackles to Tara in their corner and a boot to the jaw. Then Laurie climbed up the top rope because she's the sister that likes to high fly, and hit a double stomp onto Tara's abs as Lindsey held her up and propelled her on the top rope. It was pretty nuts. Then Laurie tried to hit Kara, but then she missed, and then Kara hit Laurie back. And then Tara kicked Laurie while distracted, and both of them tag each other's teams in. And then Kara got distracted by Laurie, who doesn't leave the ring. And then Lindsey grabbed Kara and then slammed her head into the mat and then continued to punish her. And then Kara did go for another victory roll for a 2 count. Then she tagged Tara, but then as she goes ham with the chops. She gave Laurie a knee to the chest, and then Tara hits a sunset flip, but does not know that Kara tagged her in the midst of it. This is where the communication breakdown is rearing in its ugly head with the Dojo Defenders. Kara tagged her. She didn't know. And at some point, it looked like Tara could have finished the match, but then because of that tag, it didn't finish. They fussed back and forth about it. Then Lindsey and Laurie took advantage with the attack on to Kara, and then they hit the fab jab for the 1, 2, 3. And now the winners and the still WoW World Tag Team Champions are Miami Sweet Heat. And they cut a post-match promos and roasting Kara for not being on time. And then also roasting the both of them for not being on the same page, and they vow to keep the tag team titles forever. So, Katrina, how did you feel about the way this match escalated between the Dojo Defenders, and do you think this is something they could come back from?
Maybe I feel like if Kara comes in like being on it, I feel like again we are humans, we all make mistakes. Everybody's allowed a mistake. I do think though that sometimes a choice is a choice. And so if you're deciding multiple times not to be on time and not to do what you're supposed to do, that sounds like a choice. I have problems with choices like that. Again, because it's not just about you in this regard. And I think that's part of what it is. Like they didn't have a true conversation, not real one, and there's not whatever that the feelings are not resolved from multiple instances of Kara not being where she's supposed to be or being on time or doing what she's supposed to do. With that being said, Miami Sweet Heat about this whole forever, can we not? They're cool and all. And I have no problem with them. It's just, but can we not? Like, we don't need a forever tag title reign. You ladies have had this title, and again, I'm all for the accolades. Get your accolades, make it happen. But also, I would love to see new people fighting for this belt. And we can't have that if Miami Sweet Heat is every time we see a team possible, here they come. Or every time it's like they're gone for that title for like a week, here comes Lana. Like, oh my god, my team, like they're just thrown to the side. Like, no, you guys are multiple, multi-time champions. We do not need, if anything, move on to the trios if it's that big of a deal. You got, Penelope's there. There are three of you. Technically, you guys can pull that route, but it just can we no? Can we just take a minute to be like, no, we don't need that. We don't answer that. Again, I love these ladies. There's nothing like anything, just but no, can we not? I just need them to understand that part. I was like, no, sis. I did not ask for forever reign. Yeah, we don't need that. But it was a good match until the breakdown. I think again, this is not going to be a situation where they're gonna have to talk about it or something or come to some kind of agreement. Or ultimately, if it comes down to that, maybe it just means it's time to cut ties. Sometimes your time with people are not supposed to be for a long time. Even as shitty and sucky as it feels, sometimes they're just there for a season, as the saying goes. But good match outside of all the drama.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Sometimes you're right. Like it's just not sometimes you're right. You're right most of the time. I'm sorry. That was a weird order. I'm sorry. But yeah, like you're right. Like sometimes you do have to, have people for a certain season and then you have to let them go. And I feel like we're reaching the point where, Tara is a little bit more focused than Kara is. And I feel like if they are going to split up, which makes me sad to say, I would be here for watching Tara Strike break out on her own. And maybe this is just me wanting to see the wrestler outside of WoW, as Tootie have like a center storyline on her and she goes off on a singles run. If that's what it's gonna have to take, then I'm here for it. But it makes me sad when teams like that break up. But then again, it's like you said, some people just aren't meant to be there forever all the time. Even the Hardy Boys broke up at one point and then got themselves and did what they wanted to do and then got back together. So it's okay. Sometimes you have to split up in order to really understand what's going on and do what's best for you, and then maybe you come back together, maybe you don't, and that's okay. And I do agree with you we've gotten long in the tooth when it comes to Miami Sweet Heat being the tag team champions. And you definitely have a great point about them possibly going after the trios titles too. That would be nice and refreshing. And to see Penelope Pink actually even go after another title that isn't the WoW World or the WoW Tag Team. That would be really cool too. So I guess it's just a matter of a wait and see type of thing. But I don't want to see Miami Sweet Heat be forever tag team champions either. But we love them. We love them down. But you know, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. Even the car in the background agrees. So this weekend, we have two really cool matches. They did announce them on social media. But we do have the alliance in tag team action against Lil J Boogie and Gabriella Cruz. And then we also have Ashley Blaze versus Genesis, which I'm pretty sure is going to be a good match. And then Drusilla in a promo threatens to stomp out Ashley Blaze's fire along with Genesis. So I thought that was a very threatening promo that she had. Um, then they had a spotlight on Lil J Boogie and her friendship with Gabriella Cruz, which I thought was really nice and it warmed my heart a bit because I think in women's wrestling as a whole, my favorite thing is just seeing female friendship. Um, it's just something that's just really been touching me on a very deep level lately. So getting to see Lil J Boogie talk about her dancing background and then feeling inspired by Gabriella Cruz while she was dealing with her injury, and then them being friends and teaching each other their things, like with Gabriella and her jujitsu, that was just really heartwarming. I thought that was really nice. I was just like, oh my God, look at y'all. It was just so sweet. So I can't wait to see them as a tag team continue to blossom because last time we did see them as a tag team, they lost to Animal Instinct due to shenanigans. So hopefully they can bounce back this weekend. So Katrina, how do you feel about female friendship in wrestling? Do you like seeing it coalesce?
Yeah, no, I like, I feel like me and you are an example of friendship in wrestling, and it started before meeting in person, and so I feel like I always like seeing those type of things. Some of like my closest friends have come from wrestling, and just some of like the most important girlies that I would write at dawn for or do other things that I can't particularly say for legal purposes. But some of the other women that I would like go really hard for have been because of wrestling. And so I feel like I love when I see that. And, they always say that women are like catty or they pit each other. That's one of the reasons why I didn't really like reality TV because I hate the aspect of like women just being catty. I feel like we're more than that. And so it's one of the reasons why I don't particularly like reality TV because it's like, oh, here they go, like they're friends, and then like on the green screen they talk, and I don't like that. And so when I can see like women just bonding and wrestling, I'm like, yes, I'm hyped. It makes me happy because it's just like that's there's a solidarity of being a fan in a space that's usually very male dominated. Or and you get questioned for what and do you know this, and then they want to give you a pop quiz. Like I need to explain to some random person why I like XYZ or this person or that person. And so I always just appreciate there's a solidarity in being a woman and that's in wrestling, that's a friends. And so I like it. I love to see more of it, like just genuine, just like, oh, we got wrestling, yay, and then all that stuff, but wrestling's like an added bonus.
Yeah, I love it, and I just love that there's I love the opposites attract kind of thing too. Kind of like just in the grand scheme of women's wrestling, the biggest friendship I think of right now is like Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. With them being not even just the women's tag team champions before they were even champions, you saw that friendship blossom at Evolution, which was even more powerful. Um, and it's just seeing stuff like that and seeing stuff like Charlotte and Alexa and everything else. It's just a very sweet, healing thing when you're watching women being, on one accord because we can be on one accord. So, it's very much possible. And I'm very much happy that in more recent times we can watch them be friends with each other. Now, of course, in wrestling, there are the moments where they do fall apart and it hurts, but when in the moments where they do come back together or when they do come together, it does heal. And I love wrestling sisterhood. I'm so happy that in these last few years I have connected with people like you and people like Shay and Lo and everyone else that are female as well, because you guys have uplifted me and been my solid rock. So I'm just really happy in that regard that female friendships in wrestling do exist, because when I started watching wrestling, I started watching with my dad. Um, that's my father. That's a man. And that's cool. But at the same time, I felt like I couldn't really speak about it with my mom because she wasn't watching it. So when anytime women were into it, I was like, yes, let's talk about it. So it just feels good. It feels really good. So yeah. And I'll take on any man about some wrestling. Like if you want to give me a pop quiz, let's go. I'm not the one you want to mess with. I ain't the one. If you want to give me a pop quiz, I'll pass it with flying colors. Oh, yeah. So, so as we get back to the episode, Samantha Smart vows to bring intelligence back to WoW. And then we also heard from Santana Garrett, who declared that she is a fighter and that the odds have been stacked against her for a good portion of her career. And she's not going to stop facing those challenges now just because Samantha Smart is out there with the Classmaster. Which leads us to our main event, the Classmaster versus Santana Garrett. Classmaster pushed Santana at the beginning, but then they were trading waist locks. Santana Garrett hit a sunset flip for a 1 count. Santana then hit a super kick and a drop toe hold to Classmaster, just getting that offense in very early on the Classmaster, because of course Classmaster is very tall, so it helps when you try to knock down the person really quickly. So I get that strategy from Santana. Um, Santana then flipped her into a crossface, but as she flipped the Classmaster into a crossface and she was sort of bending herself upside down, Classmaster took her fingers and stretched her mouth out with it. And it essentially messed up her game a little bit. But then after that happened, she escapes out of the ring, but then Santana followed the Classmaster out of there, and they were hitting each other with forearm blows and fists, and they just kept fighting back over and over again. Both ladies were trading fists until the Classmaster lifted and slammed Santana into the apron face first, which was really, really crazy. And there was just a lot of great athleticism in this match. Classmaster threw Santana into the ring corner and then gave her a diving back elbow and more elbow shots in a snapmare takeover with the kick to the back. Like, it was very hard hitting, and it did of course have its shenanigans because Samantha Smart kept trying to climb onto the apron to distract the referee and even get the upper hand for the Classmaster. But there was a point where you did see in that picture where Santana even took the yardstick from Samantha Smart and broke it over the Classmaster to try to get the upper hand, which was something we are not used to seeing from Santana. Usually Santana fights in these matches and they're above board, but the fact that she took that yardstick while the referee wasn't looking and hit Classmaster with it, I was like, oh, so we're getting buck. We're getting buck Santana. I like it. But it still didn't help. And then Samantha Smart distracted the referee again before a count was completed after a back handspring elbow and a bulldog DDT from Santana. She took the book that she was trying to use and she slammed her in the head with it, but then the Classmaster ran behind her and allowed for her to slam her in the head with it. And then Santana hit a roll up pin onto the Classmaster and she won the match. And the thing that I love the most about this match was the fact that you saw, number one, Santana not giving up in the midst of all those shenanigans. And number two, you heard a lot of chants from the people for Santana. They were like, Santana, Santana. And I was like, yes, cheer for her. I like it. I like it a lot. And it made me think of Dreon Santana. Shout out to her. But yeah, I was just like, y'all better cheer for her. And that was the end of the episode. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this main event? And do you see Santana finally also putting her hat in the ring for another Wild World title opportunity?
I'm happy. There's a lot of shenanigans the last time, she had the title, and I would love, like, just It's been a while. I would like to see. I feel like there's been some women we've either seen where somebody lost the title or they got cheated at the title. There was some nonsense going on, but she's previously had the title. Is considered an OG. I would not, and she still can go. So because sometimes you say OGs, it sounds like person's like, you know, old or something, and that's not in the case. It just means you got more skill, you got more time in the business, and so um I would love to see her with the title. I feel like she's had the little tag team. She's had a mix of teams. She had a mix of being there for three people, just kind of doing her part on her own in ways and trying to be a good person and in the WoW locker room. And so I would love to see her, to see what she does with the title. I would love to see her have another title and see what matches. And I like Fermenta, and I say this as in, I definitely was talking my smack when she was thinking she was supposed to get title shots after losing. To me, I was like, girl, I'm gonna need you to calm that down just a tad, because let's calm down. But she got back there and she made it happen. And so I do like that she does have the title. She did it on her own. There was no weirdness. She finally got it done. But I wouldn't mind seeing Santana either. So it's one of those things that's like, either one, if like one of them isn't, it's going to be sad, but I also wouldn't mind to see more of what Tormenta is going to do, but also to see what Santana will possibly do as champion again. So I thought it was a good match. And, Samantha being Samantha and doing what Samantha does. And even with that, Santana prevailed. And I appreciated that. And I love that the crowd was behind her. I'm guessing, hopefully David, really do something with that and there's no nonsense involving her match. But I wouldn't mind it. I feel like I would be happy either way that goes.
Yeah, me too. I would be happy any way that goes as well. I think something that I like about Santana is the fact that she doesn't put herself above the program of having to work her way back up. And she has definitely done that. So she just defeated, like, in defeating the Classmaster, you've also defeated a most recent former WoW World Champion. So I feel like that should put her in good standing. And a match between her and Tormenta would probably heal me. And it would cause for something different to happen, because I feel like in WoW we hardly if ever see a face versus face match for a title. It's always more so like a face versus a heel, which is the traditional route. No shade at that. But at the same time, if we saw a Santana versus Tormenta match, that would be really cool. So yeah, I'm here for it. I'm glad that she won, and I'm glad that she just didn't give up in the midst of all the craziness that freaking Samantha Smart had going on. So yeah, WoW Soul is saved and Santana saved it. So that's the end. So now we've reached the end of our time together. Thank you guys so much for watching us live. And of course, if you were not able to watch us live, you can watch us later on both of our YouTube channels, which is In Cat We Trust and the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Of course, if you want to support WoW, you can follow them on social media at WoW Superheroes. And if you want to figure out where it comes on for you on regular television, you can go on their website, which is wowe.com, and look it up by zip code and see what channel it comes on for you. It also comes on Thursdays on Vice TV if you want to check that out as well. And they also have a Wrestling Central channel on Roku where you can watch them and NWA, so you can catch them. There's really no excuse to not catch WoW. You can also watch them on their YouTube channel as well. So yeah, the matches are up. The programming is there. Support them, buy their merchandise, which they've been advertising very heavily on social media, tempting me to spend money that I don't necessarily have right now, but it's okay. Um, but either way, support them and just continue to support women's wrestling as a whole, because we're continuing to break barriers and break glass ceilings and do amazing things and fight for each other and our opportunities. And it's only going to get better from here. So yeah, Katrina, thank you so much for joining me, and just tell everybody where they can find and follow you and what you've got going on.
You guys can follow me on Cat We Trust. It's everywhere. It's spelled correctly except for Twitter or X, just because somebody is holding hostage the E. Um, but you can follow me everywhere on Cat We Trust. I do have a new podcast interview coming out tomorrow with Kevin Herrera Sanchez, who did some cool photography and videography things in wrestling from Ringville, and so that was a really fun and interesting conversation. And I will have my new book out in this month. So if you like to read and you like wrestling, because wrestling is in it, um, then support. And I will be on my social media when I do the official cover. I did like a tease that it's coming, and I do a cover reveal coming up. And so when that's up and it's live, definitely go support it if you like romantic fiction, but there is wrestling in it. And if you are in the Jersey area in 2 weeks, I will be doing backstage for Pro Wrestling Magic. And then, just follow my page for the 100 things that I'm doing.
Absolutely. I'm excited for all those projects, girl. It's going to be cool. Yeah. So, of course, you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. You can listen to the show, the 6-year-old, the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And of course, you can follow me on TikTok at Stephanie_Hardy. And follow the Facebook page, which is the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, if you're still on that. And just continue to support the vibe, and also follow the Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. And just continue to support your girl, because you never know where I might show up, or where I might be working, or what I might be working on. So just keep your eyes peeled, because you just never know. That's been the common theme for the past 6 years, and I don't think it's going to change. So, unless, of course, something really amazing happens where it has to change, and then I'll let you know even then. So, of course, this has been Steph Kat Talk WOW, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. And until next time, bye, y'all.